Welcome, everybody. My name is Phil Williams. I'm the Beaumont Scott Reservation Camp Director. We are excited to kick off our 75th anniversary season at Beaumont Scott Reservation. Really excited, actually, about that. So tonight we're going to go over, tonight is the leaders meeting. So if you are here for some other reason, we invite you to sign up, even if you aren't signed up yet. We invite you to sign up for camp. You can reach out to Noah either through the chat box to get some contact details or contact him later. So let's see here. So just about a year ago, actually a year ago tomorrow, Grace, Noah, and I were on our way to National Camping School. So National Camping School is where they accredit you and train you to be able to be camp directors, to be cope and climbing directors, shooting sports directors, all those kinds of things. And we were going for the program section for Grace, and Noah was doing the management section. I was teaching. It was a really great time. It's in Alpine, New Jersey. If you haven't been to Alpine Scout Camp, it was right across the river from New York City, very, very close. So if you ever decide that you want to take your unit to New York City, Alpine Scout Camp is the cheap place to stay because it's right across the river. Anyways, you can see all of us here are pictured and not wearing masks. We were wearing some other garb and things as we were part of this National Camping School. One of the funny things was, well, maybe it's not so funny in retrospect, but one of the funny things to me was that looking back on it now, we had some folks ask, well, what are we going to do if this coronavirus thing happens? Now, mind you, we are sitting right at February 26th, that I think was the start of the school, February 27th. And we're like, yeah, well, there's like 3 months until summer. It's probably going to blow over. This is not going to be an issue. Well, as we all know, March 14th rolled around, and if you're from the state of Ohio on this call, you know that our governor started having these press conferences every day. And all of a sudden we started seeing all of these sorts of restrictions in Ohio, and that was certainly true across the country. And in fact, there were only 60 camps, 60 Scouts BSA camps. Actually, I take that back. There were 60 Boy Scouts of America camps. So that includes Cub Scout resident camps that may have been offered that operated throughout the country. And we were one of the 60 of those. There's normally like 300 or so that operate. So we were really fortunate to be among that group of 60. We were able to go through the accreditation process. As you see, that's last summer. We saw many of your faces there last summer. I know we didn't get to see everybody, and that was kind of a bummer, but we were so fortunate to be able to run a safe program last summer, and just excited that our staff, all of our campers, we all did a great job making sure that we kept things clean and followed the restrictions in place. Well, we're coming up on our 75th anniversary summer, which is this 2021 summer. And it's looking right now like we're, maybe not gonna see quite the end of COVID. But first I want to talk about our guiding principles. So first off is that, as many of you know, Lake Erie Council has the guiding principle is that units are the center. And what we take this to mean at camp is that you folks are the scout leadership of your troop 51 weeks out of the year. Why would that 52nd week be any different? We're not here to replace your unit program. We're here to help facilitate your unit program so that you can be successful in creating an experience for your troop. Last summer, one of the things that we realized that I'm surprised that we didn't realize earlier, but was definitely important, is that small focused attention on groups was very important. So in the past, we've had merit badge classes where people could sign up, however many people wanted to sign up, and it could get quite overwhelming. Another piece to our model is customer service is king. So this falls really in line with small focused attention. We have a very robust commissioner program, a site host program, and we just want to serve you. We want to provide what you need to make your scout program work. All of these things kind of tie together. And so if you need something, we're going to try to make it happen. We want to give scouts programs that they want. So, we offer just around 125 merit badges at camp, but that doesn't mean that every week at camp wants to have those 125 merit badges. And what I mean by that is that if we have, let's say, 50 scouts who want to take environmental science, we're going to have 5 classes of environmental science so we can meet those needs of those scouts instead of cramming them into larger groups. When we may find that nobody wants to take farm mechanics because they're just not that interested in it. The last piece that is our guiding philosophy is that we want to continue to have open and consistent communication across the board. Hopefully everybody here has liked the Facebook page, because if not, you'll be missing out on some opportunities to win some 75th anniversary swag. So I believe Anthony is going to throw that in the chat so that folks can subscribe to the Facebook page. But throughout the whole 75th anniversary year, we're going to be giving away, I think it's every other Tuesday, we're going to be giving away some swag, old patches, hats, different kinds of things throughout the year. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the Facebook page and you'll see those updates. But we want to be open and consistent with communication. So that means having plenty of leaders meetings. I'd like to do them ahead of time so that we can spend the time at camp with our scouts and with our staff and be focused there. We'll also bring back Remind and the Bo Bugler as communication tools for all of those folks that know what those look like. I want to introduce our management team. And so I am Phil Williams. As you see, I've got a beard here, which is not in that picture. And I've got a ton more gray hair than I had in that picture. That's what happens when you have an almost 2-year-old and a 5-year-old at home, I suppose, and also being from Irish descent. We have our communications director, who is Anthony Dorning, who's on our call today. You probably remember Anthony as being the outpost director and just being a familiar face around camp. Anthony is also a communications executive with the Lake Erie Council, and so he serves and does videos, social media, email marketing as part of what we have at Lake Erie Council. Next, you'll see our program director, Grace Prorock. She returns for a second summer as program director, but she's certainly not an unfamiliar face to those folks who've been going to Beaumont for a while. And then finally, our business manager, Noah Bosansky, who I'm sure many of you have corresponded with already. We're excited to have Noah back as our business manager, and he'll be taking care of a lot of those needs as well. All right. So if you haven't booked up yet, this is just a quick snapshot, and this is actually outdated as of yesterday, but this quick snapshot of what our attendance calendar looks like. Week 1 is completely booked up, which starts on June 20th. And we've got pretty heavy weeks on week 2 and week 4. Certainly some availability during 4th of July week, the week of July 18th, and certainly the week of July 25th. So if you haven't signed up yet, we definitely encourage you to take a look at that. And you can reach out to Noah to get signed up. So COVID, it's this thing, probably most of us have heard of it. We are still operating under our residential camp permit by the state of Ohio under state mandated operating procedures or reopening procedures. These were issued back in June of 2020, June 2nd, I think is when the release date was. And basically they go on indefinitely until we are released from our state of emergency. So at this point right now, we are planning to operate under the auspices that these will in fact be the rules that we have to operate by. The good news is that we don't think that these are going to get any more restrictive. We haven't seen that the governor has had any sort of desired to make these any more restrictive, although we saw the curfew a few weeks ago. Um, the the other piece of good news is if they do become less restrictive, we'll be able to make adjustments to the program going forward. However, we want people to be able to plan, and we want people to be able to understand what they're getting themselves into and have an expectation set of what they can expect for the summer. So April 1st is going to be sort of our decision point. And what that means is that as we discussed tonight, there's kind of two, we're going to discuss one program offering. If you were here in December, or if on a call in December, or if you've looked at the website, you'll notice different materials on the website. We have two different models. We have a model where we're operating under COVID, and we have a model where we're operating where we don't have to worry about COVID. And that all lines up with the cohort model, the patrol model. That all lines up with the patrol model, the cohort model that we have to follow, which is basically keeping groups of 10. So we will make that decision as of April 1st. And what that means for you is that you'll be able to plan more accordingly, knowing by April 1st what route we're going. Certainly we hope to be able to open as much as possible, but with the release of information yesterday from the governor's office that sporting events were going to be held to 30% capacity in outdoor settings, I would say that there's a good chance that we're just going to continue to operate under this same model that we had to work with last summer. So the good news is that we've got a year of experience under our belts, and that we know how to do this well, and we think it will be a really great program for our scouts and our leaders. So those folks who came last year, you'll remember that we did a drive-through check-in for those folks who are returning, who haven't been in a while, or coming back or coming in for the first time. We do a drive-through check-in for medical check and business check-in. Now, hopefully you'll have paid all of your camp fees ahead of time, and Noah's going to make sure of that. But our medical check, you'll arrive at a scheduled time, which we'll send to you. And you'll give each of your scouts their medical forms, and we'll do a temperature check right from the car. And we'll turn all of that stuff in, and then you'll be on your merry way. Just as a reminder, you'll need parts A, B, and C of the annual health and medical record. And although there was an exemption last year, we don't foresee an exemption this year for that part C doctor signature. It will need to have been signed within a year of the month of which you're coming to summer camp. So that is to say, if you're coming on July 4th, it could be signed anytime in July of 2020 and later. So make sure that those medical forms are up to date, and those need to be up to date for everybody, including adult leaders and all of your youth. We're going to continue with the 14-day temperature logs, because that has been the permission that we have been granted to operate under. If that changes, we'll definitely let you know. We know that the best practices prove that maybe that's not always necessary, but we are operating under those auspices because that's where we have permission to operate. So just to clarify that. Once you've checked in, you'll go down to your sites. As many of you are familiar with, we'll give you a map and point you towards your site where you'll meet your site host. They'll help you set up, get the rest of your stuff set up. And really at that point, they'll give you a camp tour. We're not going to do swim checks on the day because it gets a little backed up and it becomes a congregation point, and it just is really not a great way to keep social distancing happening. So for swim checks, if you have a swimming or boating related badge, we'll schedule you those in earlier in the week, or feel free to do those ahead of time with any local YMCA, rec center, and the form is provided on the website for information on how to do that. Food service. So if you are a dining hall troop, which is a lot of folks, it's kind of a misnomer to be called a dining hall troop. We are going to continue to, we were planning on continuing to offer breakfast and lunch in sites. If you came last year, we were hoping to be able to bring dinner inside the tent, although it looks like we're not going to be able to do that because of COVID restrictions. but we're going to continue with the hot breakfast delivered to your site, and the trail lunches will be packed ahead of time. Noah, can you give us a little briefing on what we're doing this year for trail lunches? We've sort of, taken some feedback on some of those menu items. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for any folks, so whether or not you were out at summer camp with us last year, or if you have been to a high adventure base or a jamboree before, in 2020 we had the bagged Philmont trail meals that we had bought that we had gotten from the Philmont commissary because they weren't having any treks in 2020. And there are a couple pieces there. On one hand, definitely convenient. You have the bag, you've got your lunch in a bag. It's for two people. And originally last year, pre-COVID, we were already saying, hey, we really want to do this adventure lunch time when folks can go out and go eat their lunch and go explore camp rather than having to go from morning merit badge to the dining tent, back to your campsite for a siesta, then to your afternoon session. It's just a lot of back and forth. So we still want to offer that and let you go out and explore camp while eating lunch. The downside to the trail lunches last year was that we had they came in the bundle that we got from Philmont. So one of the lunches was like bagged tuna, energy chews, and like shelf stable cheese or something, and crackers. So there were some other ones that were better, but some of them were not necessarily what our scouts would prefer to eat. Now the good news is this year we actually have access to the entire menu of things that Philmont provides in their meals, breakfast, lunches, and dinners. So we've got a lot more things to choose from, a lot more variety with, instead of like, the snack in every meal being an energy chew, we can get basically any kind of like granola bar, Cliff Bar, those kind of things, actual name brand stuff. And then on the protein side of things, we also have more options there. So avoiding the kind of things like bagged tuna, bagged chicken that, I saw a lot of those things go to waste last year because you would have scouts rip open that bag and look at it and say, nope, and then toss it directly in the trash. So, we want to eliminate waste here, and we also want to provide a better variety of things there for those lunches. So we're going to have some more variety. One of the things that in talking with Philmont's commissary manager, we're going to have access to having some of their bison jerky this year, which I'm pretty sure this is the first year they're actually doing that in a long time. So that'll be pretty cool, and just add some variety, keep adding some variety to the proteins that we have. As opposed to like I was talking about, avoiding those bagged chickens, the bagged tuna, that sort of thing. So looking forward to some more variety on that front, and excited to provide something that meets our needs, but also the taste buds of all our scouts that we have coming through the gates.
Well, thank you, Noah. So I want to quickly go through what the COVID program schedule looks like. This is available on the website, which we'll have up on the screen later, but I think Anthony can probably get it in the chat right now. So you'll see that we still have our 14 program pods. We turned Sunday night into some campsite time. We realized that there was maybe not enough time to get stuff set up last year because we went right into program. But you'll also see that we've extended the day on Friday. So we are going to complete right after the campfire is done. And so let me talk about that in just a second after I talk about the concept of program pods. So when we get to April 1st, and we haven't seen any change from what the governor has laid forth, and let me just quickly go to this next slide. I'll come back here. We're going to make a final determination on what kind of program we have to run. If we have to run a cohort/patrol based program, that decision is going to be made as of April 1st. What that means is that if your troop is bringing you know, 8 scouts, you're going to be assigned the ability to program or register 1 patrol for merit badge classes. If you're bringing 9 or more, 9 to 16, you'll have 2. 17 to 24, you'll have 3. And each of those breakdowns would give you another patrol. Your patrols don't have to be even in size. So if you brought, let's say, 9 scouts, you could have a patrol of 6, you could have a patrol of 3. We want to keep them at least 2 or more because of the buddy system, and want to follow that through. So if we are still under a COVID operation, which we believe we will be in the cohort model, what that means is that the merit badge availability will be released on April 1st. We're still going through, I saw a question in the chat about completing the swimming merit badge. We will release basically on April 1st a list of all of the badges that we will be able to offer under COVID. And somebody may ask, well, how can you offer some and you can't offer others? Some badges require more close contact with another person, and we don't feel that we can necessarily do it safely. Others don't, and or there's badges that require field trips. If there's any badges that require field trips, those will most likely not happen because we can't complete them. Good example would be golf merit badge. You're required to play 18 holes of golf, and we can't exactly do that if we're not going off site. So we're not going to have anything off site basically if we are in a COVID model. So open April 1st is you'll see all the merit badge availability, and I believe we'll definitely have more options than we did last year, but that will be available through a Google form, and we will also tell you via email how many patrols you should be planning on based on the number of signups that we see. And so we'll ask you to fill out for each of your patrols by April 30th what your preferences are, your top 10 choices. For those folks who went last year, it'll be just similar to last year, although a little more streamlined. For those of you who haven't, basically each patrol is going to say, hey, we want to take these 10 merit badges in order of preference. This is our top choice. This is our second choice. This is our third choice. This is our fourth choice. So that's kind of how we'll go through on that. And the subsequent time between April 30th and May 15th, we'll take that time to schedule your patrols. So you'll still have time before you arrive at camp, just over a month for the people who are arriving first. You'll be able to, you know, if there's any pre-requirements, work with your scouts on that, or, you know, buy any craft kits or anything else that you need to consider based on that. So each patrol, let me go back to the schedule here. Each patrol is going to be assigned 6 program slots. Now, if you are familiar with the program schedule that we've used in years past, we have about 5 merit badge programs on that schedule. So each patrol is going to get 6 program options. So that's an increase of that 5 from years past. And we know that it's challenging because, believe me, we've heard this, that it's challenging, especially when you have older scouts and you have younger scouts and you don't necessarily have enough to break into the number of patrols that you need. We know that it's challenging to schedule those things. And while we are going to schedule you for 6 at minimum, we will work with you to try and get you into other things if you need to, or if there's a scout who's 17 and really needs to complete citizenship in the nation, but everybody else in the patrol is taking citizenship in the world, we'll work with you on that because customer service is king. So the point here is that we want to make sure that we're offering you a good program within the confines of the structure that we have. I saw that there was a question about understanding how the patrols worked, and I just want to kind of clarify that so that everybody can understand. Our cohorts are limited to 10 people, and so how we figure that is that if you had 10 people or 10 scouts, 8 scouts and 2 adults, that would be a cohort. That's not to say that you need to bring 2 deep leadership for every patrol. You just need to have 2 deep leadership for the troop. And you can spread out at the campsite and have multiple patrol campsites within one main campsite. So if you bring 8 scouts and 3 leaders, that's going to be 1 that's going to be one patrol. We're going to base those patrols off of those scouts. But let's say you bring 9 scouts, that's going to be 2 patrols. So the patrol's a maximum of 8, and then a minimum of, you know, the fewest number of scouts that you would bring to camp. We are setting that number of patrols because if every troop that brought, let's say your troop brings 25 scouts and you decide you want 5 patrols, we aren't going to be equipped to handle. We're equipped to handle small groups, but if every groups gets more and more granular, we're not going to have enough staff to accommodate your needs. So we'll know that a little bit. We'll know, again, moving forward towards April 1st, we'll know a little bit more. So you'll have 6 program out of those 14. You'll have 6 program pods that are scheduled towards merit badge type programs. We'll have additional programs like Maple Soda Box Social, Cope games, other things that we can bring to your campsite and work with you on, including open swim. That'll be obviously at the pool. We'll have other games like that will be kind of your non-merit badge programs that would traditionally be evening programs. And additionally, we're working on a way to make sure that we can do a call out or a Tribe of Achua ceremony in a way that's maybe not at the campsite. We received some feedback last year that people are looking to do that in a way that is maybe more group-based, but we can still distance. I believe Sean is on this call here. I think I saw Sean. The OA has been able to have gatherings. Sean, do you want to just talk about how the OA has been able to have gatherings and keep people distanced?
Sure, Phil. So the Order of the Arrow and On Lodge has been able to take into account everything that the council has set in place and assemble our members. We were able to do ordeals twice last year with brotherhoods, and we're looking at in the end of April conducting a full lodge event. So our hope is to keep moving forward with that, incorporate some of the stuff that Phil and his team is coming up with, and then additionally see how we can incorporate that into summer camp, keeping in mind that a lot of those decisions will be made after that April 1st deadline of how units are going to operate at summer camp.
Thanks, Sean. So let's discuss the rest of the schedule. So last year we dismissed after lunch on Friday. So you'll see that we're going through Friday evening at 8 p.m. You'll also see that it's family night. So we're going to hold a 75th anniversary campfire, and we've gotten approval to do this. And we're going to do it on the Gilwell Field, or Lake Klein Field, as some of you may know it. Have a big stage and have enough room there people can spread out. Big speaker systems. But our objective here is to still be able to celebrate our 75th anniversary, spread people out, keep people comfortable. And since it is family night on Friday night, the point here is that the families can come in and pick up the scouts and just take them home that same night. We'll finish by 8 o'clock, which is earlier than normal, but it gives families plenty of time to send or to take the kids home without it being too dark out for the drive home. We know that we have some units that come from farther away, whether it's in Pennsylvania, New York, Michigan, or even farther. We'll definitely work with you if you feel like that's too late to leave and you need to stay overnight. But for the majority of troops, we want to finish up that Friday evening period because one of the things that we found last year that was incredibly important for our staff was giving them enough time to rest. And the extra night that they had to have a sleep-in night, if you're sleep in the next morning kind of night, it gave them enough energy to really put on a great program. Last year's staff was the best staff that I've ever seen, and I attribute a lot of that to the fact that they were well rested and they had enough energy to bring the same energy each of the 6 weeks of camp. Yeah, that kind of finishes up the schedule there. Let's see here. Noah, can you talk to the group about registration fees? And I believe you have the next few slides here, Noah.
I do. Yep, no problem. Let's see. So let's talk about registration, the timeline on how all of that works, and a little bit about the registration fees. So if you take a look at the left-hand side of your slide, you've got the pricing breakdown for dining hall and patrol cooking. So the dining hall price would be including the food service that we described earlier, that Phil discussed, and then the early bird price for youth for dining hall is 340, and I'll talk about what early bird, regular, and late means in just a second here. But right now, I'll just go through the prices. So, youth is 340 early bird, 360 regular, 385 late. For adults, 200 for regular, 235 late. For patrol cooking, we've got youth early bird price is 235, regular is 250, late is 275, and then for adults you've got 110 for regular and 125 for late. So before I talk about what the different the different timelines look like, the number one thing is attendance numbers. So a few slides ago, you saw the big snapshot of what registration looks like for this summer. And if you looked, if you looked closely at that, maybe you've seen that before. That grid is available on our website. You might have seen maybe your troop numbers were, not what they actually, or what you actually expect them to be. So you might have seen maybe 2 and 2. So 2 scouts and 2 adults. That's the default that goes in when we move your registration over, especially if you come out every year, and we just use the site saver to book your site for next year. So what we're going to need, in the very near future here, as soon as you're able to provide a ballpark of your registration number, or of your attendance number, is you can either email those to me, just a ballpark of what you think your troop is going to have, youth and adults, and then that can also be done on the registration portal online. If you don't know what your registration number is, or maybe your troop went through a leadership change or something and you don't know whose email is on the registration, contact me and I can help you figure that out. And in the near future, I'm also going to be putting out some resources on how to use the registration system on 24/7. No matter if you've used it before or you're brand new to it, we want to be able to provide that resource and make sure you can do everything to meet your unit's needs on there. So moving forward on our timeline here, I mentioned early bird pricing, and the big date to remember with the early price rates is May 7th. So by May 7th, that's going to be the date that you'd be looking for payment in full to keep those early bird rates. So that's the 340 per scout for dining hall, 235 for patrol cooking, and that's for youth. So those early bird prices require payment in full by May 7th. And in order to meet that, we'd be looking for a first payment by March 26th. So when you're talking to your families, it's a lot easier to say, hey, we need 340 or 235 from you in May, or half of that in March and then the other half in May, rather than saying we need all this from you on one date. Easier to break that down. So by March 26th, we'd be looking for that first payment of 140 per dining hall scout and 100 per patrol cooking scout. On April 21st, we'll be opening up registration for part-time adults. And if you're not familiar with that, all that means is if you have 3 adults coming for the week and only one of them is staying the whole week, the other 2 are splitting. Maybe one could take 2 days off of work, the other could take 3 off. That way we can prorate your fees, and for those 2 part-time adults that are only going to be there for half the week, you're effectively just paying for 1 adult, one total week of camp there. So that will open up April 21st. May 7th is when that early bird discount ends, and then that regular fee is going to apply from May 8th until 2 weeks out of your week at camp. So let's say you're going to be one of our week 1 units, our fully packed week right now, your late fees would begin on June 6th because your first day of camp is June 20th. So we want to make sure we're getting those in on time so we avoid those late fees. Phil, could you click over to the next slide? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so and then a few more things on registration. So as Phil mentioned earlier in the meeting, week 1 is completely full. Campsites are full on that front. If that's a week that you're looking at, for any reason, reach out to me and we can talk about that. But plenty of openings those other weeks. And if you haven't registered yet, so if you're on this call and you're not sure what you're doing yet, or you've been meaning to register but you haven't had a chance, you can contact me to get a registration going, and we can book a $200 deposit to reserve that spot. And the next steps for your registration for all of our leaders on here that are the summer camp coordinators for your unit, whether that's the scoutmaster, the treasurer, or someone else. Your next steps for registration are to give us your ballpark, your estimated number of who you're going to have, and then begin adding the names and details in of your scouts and adults. And then if your unit uses it, there's a feature called the parent portal, which basically lets your parents go in and pay for their scout and only their scout. And again, these are things that I will put out resources for of how to use them. Black Pug, which is the company that runs our registration system, has some really good videos that walks you through these. So I will either be sharing those or making a similar version that's a little more tailored to us. The other detail here that's important to mention is free leader ratios. So this is something that we've done as far back as I can remember, and it will continue this year. So every unit receives 1 free adult registration, and then an additional free adult for every 10 scouts registered for camp. So example, if you're from a troop that's bringing 30 scouts, you would have a total of 4 free adults. So 1 that you have automatically, and then the additional 3, 1 for every 10. And let's see, Phil, you can go ahead and click forward here. Okay, all right. So next thing I will talk through is a few camp programs that are really important, and most of them deal with financial things as well. So the first thing that I will mention for all Lake Erie Council units that are on this call, we have camperships available, and you do need to apply for those by March 1st. That's done on the family level. So parents will go in and fill out those for their scout. And scouts must be listed on your registration by name in order to get matched. So even if you have if you have someone that's filled out a campership but you don't have any names on your registration, we won't be able to match those on there. So that's an important deadline there. SPL week. So senior patrol leaders put in a heck of a lot of work throughout the week of at summer camp, and because of that, they probably don't get to take advantage of all the opportunities that they would normally be able to do as a camper. So because of that, we offer SPLs a second week of camp for $50, and you can sign up through me for that one. And we would also help coordinate who they might be able to match with to stay with for the week. Maybe there's a troop in your area that is nearby that would be a good fit, or maybe you have a coworker that has a troop on the other side of the council or something. So we would help facilitate that. And last on this slide is the CIT program, the Counselor in Training program. I would highly encourage any units that have people, have scouts that are even a little bit interested in camp staff to consider being a CIT. It's an awesome program. It's really our next generation of our camp staff, which is really a great team. So any scouts that are ages 14 and up can serve 2 weeks as a CIT in exchange for basically a free week of summer camp at Beaumont. How we do that is we reimburse the troop at the end of the summer. So they get a taste of the full camp staff experience. There's no cost to serving as a CIT, and they can apply at the link on there with a deadline of May 15th.
All right, Anthony, it's your turn to talk here on communications at camp and with leaders and information that you can find ahead of time.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Just a couple of quick reminders. Communications are our #1 key here at Beaumont. So we're going to start that now. And basically, if anybody in the past has used our Remind system, it's helped get information out to you guys quicker and faster than either in a leaders meeting or an SPL meeting, or simply by the Bo Bugler. So you can sign up today by texting 81010 and then and the code for your week for the Remind system. Grace, Noah, and Phil, and if I'm on camp myself, we'll all be using Remind to communicate out to you guys with schedule changes, weather, or just simple information that we pass along to you guys at camp. Another quick reminder for upcoming events and information is using the council website. We'll be updating that pretty regularly until camp starts. And that's a great way for you guys to get information. As soon as we get it, we put it up there. And after April 1st, we'll have more of the information ready for you guys when it comes to our decisions, whether a COVID year or a non-COVID year. Another big task that I'm personally taking on this year is blue card communications and blue card updates from our staff. Our staff will be using the 24/7 system to once again track the progression in merit badge classes. That will be updated this year, and we're bringing back a way to track that for you guys. I know last year we did not have the clipboards that you guys are used to over at Beaumont, so we're looking to bring back the tracking system over at Beaumont so you guys can track and see where your scouts are and in their badges. So a couple of quick, easy ways that we're going to communicate with you guys either prior to camp or during camp. If you guys don't have that great cell phone reception that many of us don't have out of Beaumont Scout Reservation, we will still be using the Bo Bugler, which is our daily newsletter, and we'll be passing information along to you guys, the traditional routes as well. Also, we'll be printing a, once our plans are more concrete and ready to roll, we'll be printing our parent and a scout guide so you guys can pass that along as well. So that's how we're going to communicate with you guys in the next upcoming weeks. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. My email will be in the chat, or Phil as well. Phil?
Yeah, just also want to note that within the first couple weeks of April, we will definitely hold another leaders session. Feel free to invite your youth leaders as well, as we're getting closer, and we'll know at that point what our decision point has been for COVID. So keep that in your mind that there will be another leaders meeting coming up for that. Want to make a shameless plug. It is our 75th anniversary, and any anniversary would not be complete without having plenty of different swag that we're going to offer, from patches to hat pins to stave pins to neckerchiefs to all of that kind of stuff. Right now we have pre-orders available for the neckerchiefs. It's $16 a piece. They're not the little flimsy neckerchiefs that you buy at the scout shop. These are the big ones that the international scouting community wears. That you could literally make a triangular bandage out of. Pretty cool. It will have a screen print basically of our map on it, and there will be an embroidered patch on the bottom with the 75th anniversary patch logo. We're really excited about that. You'll see in the coming weeks additional swag. We're going to have, you've probably seen me wear my Beaumont soft shell jacket around. We're going to have soft shell jackets that will be available for folks with the option of customizing as well. Obviously additional cost to that as well, but there'll be an option for customizing. All of those pre-orders are going to be available at HTTP. Well, you can read the website. I don't need to read it out loud.
Sorry. Go ahead, Noah. Sorry, yeah, just one other quick thing on there, Phil. So we will be building out that 75th anniversary store here in the near future. And I just wanted to highlight a few things just to talk about related to summer camp, but also just in general, talking about this, the 75th year. So we're going to have the store built out probably mid-month. It's basically just an extension of the council online training post there that is, we're going to mainly use that to get some orders in, pre-orders for summer camp stuff. Most of you are probably used to having a pre-order for a t-shirt. This will just sort of expand on that idea a little bit. And so that'll be available separately, on a website for anyone that, wants to order things. Some things will be available to be, shipped to you or picked up. And if we'll also build this into your summer camp registration. So some of this stuff, if you're, ordering a bunch of stuff and you're out of area, we can have it for you when you get to camp. So just wanted to jump in on those things.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. Really excited about some of our 75th anniversary swag. Going to have some throwback patches, throwback stuff. So if you've been at Beaumont for a while, you'll see the shield again. You'll see the Camp A TP again. Some really awesome. If you're a collector and a geek like me, you'll really geek out about this stuff that's coming down the pike. Also want to make a shameless plug. September 17th through the 19th of 2021, we're going to be having our 75th anniversary camperall. This is going to be open to Scouts, BSA, and Cub Scouts. This will be at Beaumont, which makes sense. Due to the fact that July 4th is on a Sunday, but also because we are under COVID and don't know what things are going to look like, we wanted to push our annual fireworks celebration back to have more of a chance that things will look more like normal. So we'll have our 75th anniversary celebration at Beaumont Scout Reservation, September 17th to the 19th. On the evening of the 18th, we'll end with a big closing show with a big campfire program. And we're hoping to dedicate the 75th anniversary flag plaza in the coming weeks. In the sizzle that comes out, you'll see information about purchasing bricks. If your troop or you individually wants to purchase a brick to go in the flag plaza, that's how we're funding it. And we want to build, Beaumont's got this great Augustus Center, but the flag plaza seems like almost an afterthought to me. So we want to kind of jazz that up, get in 3 flag poles, and really make an awesome place to do flag raisings and lowerings, particularly when we can get back out of this COVID stuff. So that is September 17th through the 19th. Really excited about that program. Should be really awesome. So we are now at the point where we can take some questions. I got a cool picture here, as you might see, of the building of the Augustus Training Center, and a more current picture. But if you want to, at this point, I'm going to stop the screen share. And if you have a question, you can press the raise your hand button on Zoom, and then we'll call on you, and feel free to unmute yourself and then ask your question. I believe the raise your hand button is under reactions if you're on your computer. Also, feel free to use the chat if you can't find it. Cancellation with COVID. So Dave, are you specifically asking about individuals? The possibility of us canceling the whole summer camp? What can you clarify that?
Yeah, you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dave.
Okay, yeah, I have one family who's kind of they're nervous about it, and they keep asking me what happens. They want to go, but for whatever reason, if there's a spike out in the world, they might want to cancel last minute. I know last year there was a no questions asked, I think, policy, but I'm not sure if things are under control a little more this year. Is it more restrictive?
Yeah, so I would say that we're going to be a little bit more restrictive on that because we know that we're going to be able to operate. Um, we certainly want to have that scout have the opportunity to go to camp. And let me just extend that one of the things that Noah did not say is if you have any scouts crossing over or Weeblo scouts that are or any new scouts that join the troop, they will be paying the early bird prices all the way through. You don't have to worry about the regular late fee. Dave, I guess I would say that we'll have to approach that closer on. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna necessarily say that they would be out all of their money, but there may be a cancellation fee because we do have even when we cancel stuff, we've got credit card transaction fees that we have to eat and stuff like that. So I would say that we'll probably normally we have a 30-day cancellation policy that if you have to cancel within 30 days, although there's that 15% cancellation fee. I would say that we'll probably extend that till closer up. But there will be probably a cancellation fee.
That's fine. So it's like right now though,
if somebody is sick,
yeah.
If somebody is sick or I don't know what our health protocols will be at that point, but potentially if they're sick or they've been exposed to somebody, that they would, be eligible to receive a full refund. But if it's about nervousness, I would say that we could probably do either a full credit for that family or for the troop, use it towards a trading post or something like that. Or a cancellation, with a cancellation fee.
Okay, and it was 30 days, you think, is the cutoff?
No, so that's what the cutoff is normally. What I'm saying is that we would probably extend that, but it's not a full refund. It's a refund with a cancellation fee.
Okay, fair enough.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, my question would be as far as adult leaders, would we be able to leave camp and then return at a later date in the week, or we patrol cooks, or are we going to be able to leave and go to a grocery store and then return to camp?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're definitely going to be able to leave camp. Just as a reminder to folks, if you have adult leaders, we don't permit commuting as part of your 2 deep leadership. That is to say that if you have only two leaders and one of your leaders is going to work and then coming back at night, you're going to need to have a third leader. If you need to run to the grocery store or things like that, that's certainly permitted. Your temperature will be checked when you arrive back. We know people's got to go get groceries, especially if you're patrol cooking. You're going to have to go get groceries. You're going to have to go get, fuel for whatever it is that you need. We understand that. We're just going to use those same protocols, recheck in, re-temperature check you, hand sanitizer, all of that kind of stuff, because that's kind of the process that we have to go through to stay accredited with the state of Ohio.
Great, thank you.
Everybody's so shy. Bob, you usually have some hard questions for me. I guess we got a couple Bobs here, but you usually have some hard questions for me.
Are you talking to Bob from Holland?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh my goodness gracious. I don't have any hard questions. The biggest hard question I had, I put it in the chat. I want to get some Hudson Bay bread from Northern Tier. Just on cancellations, we're sending a crew to Philmont this year, and they told us that if they're gonna have crews, and if someone backs out for health reasons for COVID, we sacrificed $100 deposit. So I don't think that's unusual if you have some sort of cancellation fee like that.
So we might actually be able to make our own Hudson Bay bread too. I will explore that. So before he was our food service manager, Bill Roloff was the food service manager at Northern Tier, and so he made Hudson Bay bread. So he probably has he made of Hudson Bay bread. So he probably has the recipe memorized.
Oh,
So
we're
that
in
we
good
can-
hands. We're in
Yeah.
good hands then.
So Christine, you private messaged me and you asked me, do I really want you to talk? Well, I love talking to you, Christine. Bob says, is there going to be wash stations at each site to wash up and hand sanitizer? Do you mean campsite, Bob?
Yes.
Yes. Great question. There will also be hand sanitizer. Yeah. Is there a discount for those that registered before leaving camp? I think you're referring to the kind of the thing that we've done in the past with the previous year's pricing. With this is kind of our true up year where we've moved away from that. It's been a problem in the registration system, making sure that everybody's prices get reflected. So that has been eliminated for this year, and kind of moving forward, everybody will see the same pricing. We're going to offer some special incentives for folks who are returning. Your patch is going to be a little bit different. So you'll be designated as a returner through that different patch. All right, what other questions? Christine, I know you want to talk to me.
I don't know if everybody's ready for that, Phil.
I think everybody's ready for that. Is Clinton ready?
Oh, Clinton is ready. He's at college, ready to go, trying to figure out if he's going to national camp school. Is that going to work for his schedule?
Well, when is he out of college?
He's free and available effective May 1st.
Oh, there's plenty of national camping schools we can send him to.
I know. There's one in California. Put him on a plane.
I don't think we're going to send him to Irvine. That seems a little far.
Come on. No, I'm ready for camp. I got my crew ready. I've already figured out when I'm bringing cookies.
Good. You should bring those every week, but
I will go broke.
James, you have a question?
Okay, so my question is, I know that we're doing several different things, and like last year when we went out to camp, we got a special COVID bead. Is there going to be any updates to the Tribe of Achui bead program or anything like that?
Great question, James. I would imagine so. I plan to do a 75th anniversary bead just because I like to do those kinds of things. But yeah, there will probably be some other beads that will be available.
Now I got to lower my hand.
Any other questions, folks? All right, well, we are so excited to see all of you folks next summer, or this summer, I should say. We're like less than 120 days away, I think, right, Noah? Anthony is shaking his head, yes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll be in week 1 4 months from now.
So it's really exciting. We're really excited to see all your faces, really excited to get back to Beaumont. Hopefully everybody's got a good troop program going on. If you guys need any assistance or have questions and you want us to talk to your PLC or anything like that, we are certainly willing and excited to do that. Thank you guys so much for choosing Beaumont. We know that there's lots of camps that you can choose from. So thank you so much for choosing us. And we'll see you guys soon.